Okay, so I wanted to try something a little bit different. I wanted to try to tell a story from my life while you watch my workday, because the garbage is pretty satisfying, but I know that it gets boring after a while, so I'm telling a story to help um, it stay interesting. Anyway, so this is basically a story about how I almost got kidnapped. I was out doing door-to-door sales for a garbage company out in Minnesota. Basically, what you do is I'd have um, we'd have our cheap rate that we'd be selling everyone on. We'd probably give them like 3 months free if they signed up at the door, and we'd just be going around saving people money on their garbage pretty much. So while I was doing this, I knocked on this one lady's door. It was probably about 10 o'clock in the morning because we knocked from like actually we started knocking about 10, so it would have been probably around noon that I met her for the first time. And basically, um yeah, we normally knock from like 10 to like 8, so like what's that, 8 hours or something like that. So a lot of knocking and talking to people. But I knocked in this one lady's house. She was like probably 75. Her name was Mary. Basically, um she was super nice, at least at first. I'm just kidding. But basically, yeah, so I knocked on her door. She didn't want to switch over to garbage services because she was sharing with her neighbors who, so they're like splitting the bill. So she was kind of already paying really cheap. But basically, I was talking to her and she kept telling me that the neighborhood, like, that I was in was super dangerous, and like um the city garbage was like right across the street, like, and I guess that neighborhood was super sketchy. But she kept going like off and off and like going crazy about how there was like a sex offender in the area, and that I was like, and anyway, she seemed scared for me, um but basically, yeah, so that kind of scared me. I was, I kept knocking though, because the door-to-door salesmen just don't quit. Anyway, so I just kept knocking, kind of that in the back of my head. I was like, yeah, I doubt, that's, yeah. She's probably just lying, trying to get me out of the neighborhood, like some people do. Um, but then basically I like go to her next door neighbor and knock on their door, and then she like yells from her porch over to her neighbor, and she's like, "Yep, I know him. You should sign up for his garbage service." Uh, and then so she helped me get that sale on that house. Um, but then I like knocked a few more houses around. She helped me get those sales too by just yelling off of her porch and like telling people to sign up. And since they knew her, they trusted me, so that caused them to sign up basically. But so that was funny. It was nice because I got some sales off of that. And then as I got further down the road away from her house where she like couldn't see me, she got in her car and started driving around like with me. Like, so I'd knock on the door, they wouldn't answer, or they would. I'd talk to them, and I'd move to the next door, and she'd just like inch along with me, like in her car, just constantly watching me. It was yeah, kind of sketchy, but basically, so she did that until lunch. She invited me to get into her car and like take a break, which I did, which I probably shouldn't have, but I did it anyway because I needed that break. Um, so yeah, I kept knocking, and then it was lunchtime, which was about 3 o'clock. And then we go for like an hour till 4, and then hit the doors from like 4 to 8, which is prime time. Um, yeah, so I got picked up for lunch. I told my manager about Mary and how she was taking good care of me, just constantly driving around, and how I got in her car and my manager was like, "Hey, don't do that." Anyway, he's cool though. So he's like, you know, Like, what are you thinking, bro? Why the heck? I don't want to tell your parents you got kidnapped or whatever. I was like, yeah. Anyway, um, so we're at lunch. We went to go get some fast food. We're there for an hour from 3 to 4. And then when we're done with lunch, I get dropped off back in the same area to hit the same area for prime time. And then this person, um, basically, yeah. And then Mary comes back and finds me. She's been like driving around for the whole hour that I was out at lunch, driving around looking for me. Because she was feeling like the neighborhood was not safe for me still. So she kept driving around looking for me, and then I got dropped off that hour later, and then she found me like 10 minutes after I got dropped off. And it was just the same thing from like, yeah, 4:30 until basically 7 o'clock, when we were starting to wrap up. But she was just following me the whole time. And then around like 7, she asked me if I wanted to go back to her house and get a cookie and go to the bathroom. And like up until this point, I hadn't said anything about needing to go to the bathroom or being hungry or anything. So that's when I kind of started to get really suspicious of Mary because of her just kind of abrupt, like, we should go back to my house kind of thing. So that was sketchy. And then, so I was like in her car at the moment. And so she drove me back to her house. I got out of the car. She got out of the car and she was like, yeah, come in and grab a cookie and go to the bathroom, you know? And I was like, yeah, I'm on a sugar diet, even though I wasn't. Um, but, you know, I just had to get out of that situation. And then I also told her I didn't need to go to the bathroom either. Um, yeah, so that was basically the story. And I called my manager and I was like, hey, you should come pick me up. Um, and so he did. I told him the whole story. He was laughing. He was also like, yeah, I really don't want to call your parents, so don't ever do that again. But it was good times, you know. Probably a story I'll always remember. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like and subscribe if you want more storytelling videos like this. And I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments. So have a good rest of your day, and thank you.